Hey Fitz, it's our first time talking to you since before the scrimmage. Just want to say our thoughts are, with your family and sorry for your loss. What did it mean for you to get back so quickly to your teammates and barely miss any time at all? Continue your prep for week one.
Well, this is there's a lot of different responsibilities that I have, and being a leader on this football team is one of them. So we've done a great job kind of preparing with the short time that we've had, and we know that everything is so critical in terms of practices and the time that we have there out on the field, because it has been so limited with the pandemic. So it's finally nice today to stop practicing against our defense and to get into some New England stuff and really start paring down what we're trying to do. This is the stuff that I really enjoy as a quarterback, the week-to-week game planning, and I'm glad that we're at this phase and we made it this far.
Adam?
The last time you played them up there, you had a fair amount of success. DeVante had a lot of success. What was the key in going after Gilmore, and do you think he's going to be ready for you guys this time around?
Well, yeah, I mean, a former teammate of mine, and defensive player of the year. So a guy that has had a ton of success in this league and is definitely one of the top guys, defensively around the league. They're very talented on defense, very talented and experienced in the back end. And so for us, it's trying to throw to the open guy, trying to pick the best matchups. They do a great job of making sure that everything's contested and challenged on every play. So we'll have to play our best, whether, receivers, tight ends, backs, the way that I'm throwing the ball, everything's going to have to be on point for us to be able to move the ball versus these guys.
Cam?
Fitz, what's up, man? Over the last, week or so, we got a chance to talk to a bunch of your teammates and coaches about like what they see as your value, your appreciation. And I was kind of struck at just how much praise everybody had for you. I think I guess it just kind of struck me that like at this stage of your career, you seem to find a home here where everybody loves you. How have you felt that? And I guess what does that feel like for you personally, knowing you've been so many different places?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel the love, and I think, with a personal tragedy, with my mom passing away, I think you feel it extra. All the people, and it was a lot of teammates and people in the building, but it was a lot of people I'd been in contact with almost in a past life, on different teams in different cities, and there were a lot of people that have reached out. So I've been feeling a lot of love lately in that regard. Just people knowing that they want to let me know that they care about me and are thinking about me and my family, and that's been good. In terms of the coaches, I'm about the same age as most of them, so we have more in common than some of the younger guys. But I think that's just part of the position that I play, being able to interact with everybody and get a good feel for everybody and spend a lot of time in all the different rooms.
Fitz, I actually was going to ask you a little bit of what you were just talking about. So let me kind of advance it a little bit and ask you about the support you got from Brian Flores. We could kind of see it from a distance at the scrimmage that it looked like he really reached out to you. I can't imagine how much that must have meant to you.
Well, I think, just being a head coach and a leader of this team, he's meant a lot to me and to all of us. And just the situation that I currently am and was going through, and him going through something very similar within the past year or two, just being able to sit and have somebody to talk to about it is great. So I feel like Coach Flores has really grown, just as this team has really grown over the last year, and hopefully that continues, and hopefully we start to see some results on the field.
Omar?
Fitz, I want to ask you about your weaponry. More than in past years, it seems like everybody in your arsenal has a different skill set or brings something different to the table. Have you noticed that? And if so, how could that impact this offense?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely we've got guys that can make plays in a variety of ways. And so I think a lot of that, and especially when a new staff comes in, it's a lot of learning these guys and learning the things that they're great at, the things they need to work on, and maybe some of the things that we should stay away from. And one of the things that I've harped on since Chan got here is playing to guys' strengths, and something he does a really nice job of putting them in a great position and putting me in a great position. So we have a lot of talent on the offensive end, and I think being able to utilize each guy, playing to their strengths and giving them some freedom to go out there and do what they do best, that'll hopefully show up here as we get going.
Joe?
Hey, Ryan, I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to you starting quarterback week 1 in the NFL at this stage of your career?
It means a ton. I mean, it's not something I take for granted. I've kind of gone back and forth and been the guy, not been the guy. And so I know how difficult it is to earn something like this. I know how difficult it is, to accept this responsibility and to go out there and to shoulder everything that I've got to shoulder as the starting quarterback to get these guys ready to go play. But it's the reason I still play. It's why I love the game so much. And I'm honored, and I'm really excited to be able to lead this team out there on Sunday.
Travis?
Hey, Fitz. First, want to echo Josh's statements off the top with our thoughts being with you with the passing of your mother. I also want to go back to a question earlier. You mentioned Steve Gilmore, and you had a comment last December after that game, how it's not that you necessarily don't respect the guy you're going against, but you have ultimate confidence in a guy like DeVante to give him chances to make plays in the football. I'm just curious, is there a measured approach you have to that, like a certain time or a look they give you, or is it just, I'm going to trust my guys all the time?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely calculated risk, but I can't give you all my secrets, Travis. But yeah, a lot of it does come down to that. I mean, their best players are going to be on our best playmakers, and so the way these games go, do their guys make more plays or do ours? And and going into matchups like this, I just want to make sure that my guys know that I've got the ultimate confidence in them. And I'm going to give them opportunities to go out there and make plays. And, that's no secret to the defense. That's no secret to my guys. But that's how we'll figure out who's going to win the game. If our big playmakers show up and I can get them the ball, or if they can't.
Cam?
Fitz, I know it's a this year deal, but obviously your last game that you guys played and this team played was against that team in Foxborough, and you guys won. How much confidence, and I guess, can that help you catapult to where you guys are going Sunday from what you guys did, last year?
We've got a ton of new faces. Definitely been harping on this just being a new year, completely different team for us, completely different team for them. So I don't know that we can draw a whole lot on that, and then just the other aspect we haven't talked about, which is no fans and fake crowd noise and how that's going to play into it. And, there's some unknowns going into this game that haven't existed in the past that both teams will have to deal with and feel out. But, there's going to be some interesting storylines and things there that we'll have to figure out. But in terms of comparing last year to this year, we haven't even really talked about last year's game because it is such a new team on both sides for us and them.
Alan?
Hey, Fitz, I know there's a sense of excitement going into any season, but this year obviously is very different for you guys after an offseason of bringing in a whole bunch of new players as opposed to last offseason where it was a whole bunch of big-name players leaving the team. So how much more exciting might it be this year, and how much higher might the level of confidence be?
There's definitely a different feeling right now than there was last year at this exact time. But I think right now there's a great vibe in the building. I think in terms of the personalities and the guys that have been on this team with the guys that were added to this team, everybody's pulling in the same direction right now. And that's easy to do when there's no adversity and you haven't played any games. So we'll figure out real quick what kind of team that we have, but I think we've brought in the right guys. We've got a great group of guys in the locker room, and hopefully that adds to our success on the field, being able to kind of get along and, everybody have the same mentality and mindset.
All right, we've got time for one more. We'll go to Joe.
Kind of following up on those raised expectations, do you expect this club to be involved in the playoff discussion, playoff relevant?
Well, I think, raised expectations is relative, since the expectations last year were probably zero, right? So it's all relative. I know that, we're excited to see what happens this year, and I think there's so much uncertainty around the league. I think I know what we have here. I think we put in a lot of work and we're gelling right now, but until you get out there and do it on the field, you've really got no clue. So every year there's uncertainty, and this year there's probably more than there's ever been.